What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Close Encounters of the Third Kind, written and directed by Steven Spielberg. Close Encounters of the Third Kind tells the story of Roy Neary, played by Richard Dreyfuss, who is pretty much this everyday man living in Indiana who one day decides to start looking for UFOs since a bunch of UFOs have started appearing all around Earth. Now Roy Neary has become obsessed with these UFOs and wants to find out more about it. Okay, so that's the overall plot line for Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Let's talk about it for a little bit. Now, Close Encounters of the Third Kind is pretty much regarded as one of Steven Spielberg's most best movies, and this movie is pretty much his follow-up to Jaws. This movie came out in 1977. Jaws had came out in 1975. So, this movie pretty much came out at the height of the success of Jaws, and Spielberg had pretty much become a very sought-out after commodity. So, Close Encounters of the Third Kind was pretty much his next project, and was actually his dream project that he had been working on for decades. And since he was now a more bankable commodity, he was able to make this thing. So, taking all that into account, how do I feel about Close Encounters of the Third Kind? I think this is a good movie. Yeah, I don't have much of a history with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, to be honest with you. This is one of those Spielberg movies that I rarely, if ever, go back to. No joke, I have seen it twice in my lifetime. I may have seen it maybe once before when I was very, very young. But in terms of memories that I actually do have, I've seen it twice, and I thought it was fine the first time around. And my opinions on Close Encounters of the Third Kind really haven't changed the second time around. This is not a movie that really resonated with me, that doesn't really resonate with me. That doesn't mean it's bad or anything. It's not a movie that I go back to because it just doesn't have that same spirit as, let's say, a Jaws does or a Jurassic Park does. Again, that's not to say Close Encounters of the Third Kind is a bad movie, because it's not. From an overall production and technical standpoint, this is a fantastic looking movie from a 1977 standpoint. I think the cinematography by Zygmunt Zygmos, if I mispronounce his name, I'm sorry. I think this cinematography in this movie is absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. And Spielberg creates this very grounded, realistic look to the film as well. That is coupled by really good cinematography. The special effects by 1977 standards look really damn good, especially when you watch this movie almost 45 years later. I think they still hold up. And I think Spielberg was very, very wise to not date this movie and to not make this movie feel like it takes place in the year that it was made. Like, this movie feels like it could take place in the 70s, like it could take place in the 80s or the 90s, hell, even in the 2000s. Like, this movie has a timeless quality to it. And some of the strongest aspects to a Spielberg movie is the fact that they can take place in any time period, with the exception of Indiana Jones, which takes place during the 30s and the 40s, because those were based on adventure serials. But I digress. By keeping Close Encounters of the Third Kind very grounded, realistic, and not playing to the tropes of the decade that it was made in, Spielberg really did make a movie that felt timeless and that could take place in any era. And not only that, what also makes a Spielberg movie really good is his emphasis on characters and story, and not so much special effects or anything like that. And that's another thing that I think Close Encounters of the Third Kind does right, is that its characters are relatable. I thought Richard Dreyfuss, as the character of Roy, did a really good job of playing this everyday common man who slowly starts to kind of lose his mind as he becomes obsessed with these aliens and the UFOs, to the point where his family pretty much up and abandons him, which I do have a gripe with, because in the middle of the movie, his family just leaves, and then he's hanging around this woman named Jillian, who was on the search for her son named Barry, who was abducted by these aliens. I would have just had the characters of Roy and Julian already be a married couple, and having Barry be their son, and the two of them have to embark on a journey to try and find him, as opposed to the family drama that Roy does had with his wife Ronnie and his boys, who just disappear once they leave and they don't come back again. And like I said, the rest of the movie, he's teamed up with this character of Jillian, and I think Roy and Jillian have better on-screen are they come across as likable, and they share an on-screen kiss. And I think the movie was trying to build some sort of a romance with them, but I don't think anything really happened because of it. To be honest with you, but the movie plays as if Roy and Jillian were starting to develop something between one another. Like I said, if that was the case, I would have just had Roy and Jillian be the married couple instead. That's just how I would have done it. You also have this other subplot going around with these two scientist guys played by Truffaut and Bob Balaban, who are working with the U.S. government since they have a knowledge of UFOs. Their story is okay. Personally speaking, I would have had these two characters interact more with the Roy and Julian characters, since Roy and Julian seem to have more of a hypnotic, connection to what's happening with the UFOs and things like that. So that's how I would have handled that, me personally. But overall, I think the rest of the movie it's overall fine. Like, it really is overall fine. Like, the story is, it's not overly engaging, but it will keep you interested. The special effects are a visual marvel to look at. The cinematography is beautiful, and Steven Spielberg brings that patented, crisp direction that he does to every single movie he does. So yeah, like, this has that Spielberg feel to it. It has that mysterious yet whimsical feeling to it. It has that wonderment to it, and that's pretty much the best that I can say about Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's not my favorite Spielberg movie, but I do appreciate this movie, and I do find it to be overall pretty good, which is why I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I will check you back next time for more.